Welcome to this session of Energy Conservations and Management. Myself Anirban Sarkar, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department, JIS College of Engineering, Kollani, Nadia. Today we are going to be discuss benefits of waste heat recovery devices and some devices of the waste heat recovery. Benefits of waste heat recovery. So there are classified into two categories. That is, waste heat recovery can be broadly classified into two categories. First of all, direct benefits. Recovery of waste heat has a direct effect on efficiency of the process. This is reflected by reduction in the utility consumption and cost and process cost. So in direct benefits of waste heat recovery, that gives us less fuel consumptions. Ultimately it saves the fuel cost, process cost also, and the utility consumption cost also. In case of indirect benefits, first point, number A, reduction in pollution. Say number of toxic combustible waste such as carbon monoxide gas, sour gas, carbon black off gas, oil sludge, acrylic and other plastic chemicals, etc. released to atmosphere if and when burns in the burners or incinerators serves dual purpose, that is, recover heats and reduce environmental pollution level. It indicates that if we go for waste heat recovery, less fuel we need to be burned. The toxic gas it will produce is less than if we don't go for heat recovery. Lot of fuels we need to be burned, and for that reason the toxic gases will be released more. So ultimately it will indicate that direct benefits, that is, we are saving the fuel, because from the earlier we have seen that a large amount of waste heat during process is rejected or we cannot use in the devices primarily. If we recover that one, so that will give us direct benefits such as saving the fuels, process cost, etc. And in indirect benefits, now we have seen reduction in pollution. Number B, reduction in equipment size. So if we want to burn without heat recovery devices, so large burners or the number of burners will be required more to run the process, to run the auxiliaries, etc. Now due to waste heat recovery, the equipment size get reduces and number of burners also get reduces. That is, here it is written, waste heat recovery reduce the fuel consumption, which leads to reduction the flue gas produced. This result in reduction in equipment size of all flue gas handling equipment such as fan, stacks, ducts, burners, etc. So as we know that to large amount of handle of this flue gas, we need to run this fan to out of the system the flue gas. The stacks would need to be larger one, ducts it need to be again the large one, and the burners also. So through this waste heat recovery things or waste heat recovery devices, overall size of the burners, fans, stacks, ducts, etc. get reduces. So ultimately the direct cost is reduces. On the other hand, we can say that it is giving the direct benefits. That means installation for these fans, stacks, ducts, burner are significant amount of investment required. Number C, reduction in auxiliary energy consumption. So as we know, so if we go for waste heat recovery, the waste heat can run the auxiliary devices such as air preheater, economizer, reheater, etc. So reduction in equipment size gives additional benefits in the form of reduction in auxiliary energy consumption like electricity for fan, pumps, etc. So if we go for waste heat recovery, that waste heat can produce some electricity, or via this directly it can generate electricity which can run the auxiliary things of a plant, that is pumps, various type of induced and forced dot fans, etc. Next, development of waste heat recovery system. Understanding the process is essential for development of waste heat recovery system. This can be accompanied by reviewing the process flow sheet, layout diagram, piping isometrics, electrical and instrumentation, cable ducting, etc. The details review of these documents will help the identifying source and the use of waste heat. Upset condition occurring in the plant due to heat recovery. Availability of space so that we can plant some other auxiliary device or waste heat equipments. Any other constraints, if any, such as dew point occurring in an equipment, etc. So we need to understand that through details by flow chart, layout diagram, piping isometrics, and the electrical and instrumentation cable ducting, through that if any errors are going or are not, that is source of use of waste heat, if we utilize it properly or not. The conditions occurring in the plant, that is upset conditions occurring in the plant, that is if any errors are going or not due to heat recovery. Availability of space, that means it became stringent for the maintenance working personnel to maintain the different devices. And if dew point occurring, over excessiveness of the use of waste heat recovery system, so that it will give us the chemical and corrosion attack. So after identifying source of waste heat and possible use of it, the next step is to select suitable heat recovery system and equipment to recover and utilize the same. So proper utilization of the waste heat recovery is very much important. If we go for over excessive, so it will create unnecessary problem in the plant and ultimately the cost will be more. So identifying the source of waste heat recovery and proper implementation to recover that one is important one. Now, economic evaluation of waste heat recovery system. It is necessary to evaluate the selected waste heat recovery system on the basis of financial analysis such as investment, depreciation, payback period, rate of return, etc. In addition, the advice of experienced consultants and suppliers must be obtained for rational decision. Next section gives a brief description of a common heat recovery devices we will discuss later. So now from the economic point of view, some experts view or experts comment is required. We cannot go for, that is, haphazardly to use the waste heat recovery devices here and there in any plants. That is, the waste heat recovery devices, that is, it takes huge investment. So the depreciation and payback period and rate of return, if it is delays, so we cannot opt for that. So expert advice is always welcome. Next, waste heat recovery options and technologies. The methods of waste heat recovery includes transferring heat between gases and or liquids. Example, combustion air preheating and boiler feed water preheating. Transfer heat to the load entering furnace. Generating mechanical and or electrical power, or using waste heat with a heat pump for heating and cooling facilities. So in a power plant, generally the waste heat, in a flue gas available, it is passed through first of all superheater, boiler, reheater, economizer, air preheater and various, that is, heat and various water heat pumps to heat the things and to gain the maximum efficiency. As we know that preheated air is very useful in combustion. Preheated feed water boiler is very much useful in case of power generation also. And in case of reheater and superheater, we use the flue gas directly so as to reduce the temperature of the flue gas that directly discharging into the atmosphere. So it has some norms are there so that we cannot use much heated flue gas to the atmosphere due to the environmental norms. So as to run these auxiliary devices, we are using this type of devices, that is air preheater, economizer, water feed water heater, etc. Now the terminology for heat recovery technology frequently varies from different industries. That is, if we say that for an industry related to power plant and some industry related to, that is, cement plant or some glass manufacturing unit, so what are the type of waste heat devices that we need to be installed and how it will be in what if effectively it will be installed, we need to take some advice from the experts. Since addressing these multiple industries, the terminology used below is basis of all subsequent discussion of heat exchanger technologies in different industries. So there are different technologies that are using in the industry with some modifications in the designs of the equipments are there. So the most commonly used waste heat recovery devices, that is called heat exchanger. These are the most commonly used or heat recovery devices that combustion exhaust air that comes from combustion, that transfer heat combustion exhaust gases to combustion air entering the furnace. Since preheated combustion air enters the furnace at a higher temperature, less energy must be supplied by the fuel. Typical technologies used for air preheating includes recapitator, furnace regenerator, burner regenerator, rotary regenerator, and passive air preheater. So there are various type of air preheating device used by various industries. All are comes into the type of basically a heat exchanger. Apart from this air preheater, economizers are also type of heat exchanger. Any device that exchanges the heat from, that takes the heat from high temperature gases and utilizes it, that is called the heat exchanger in general case. Now commercial waste heat recovery device, as we can see, this figure is an waste heat recovery device that is called recapitator. So as we can see, that is exhaust gas is flowing through that on the device, and it has some tubes are there where the incoming or inlet airs are coming, and it takes the heat from the waste heat and it is flowing in the other directions. So recapitator is a heat exchange takes place in recapitator. The heat exchange takes place between the flue gas and the air through metallic or ceramic walls. So that is the material of this recapitator. It may be metallic or a ceramic walls. Ducts or tubes carry the air for combustion to be preheated. The other side contains waste heat stream. So here you can see that is ducts or tubes that carry the air that is to be preheated, and in the other part that has the waste heat stream. The simplest configuration for the recapitator is metallic radiation recapitator. So this is the example of an metallic recapitator, which consists of two concentric lanes of metal tubing. The inner tubes are carrying hot exhaust gas, while the external annules carries the combustion air from the atmosphere to the inlet of the furnace burner. So as we can see here, the flue gas is upwarding, and ultimately it is through the chimney the waste is removing into the atmosphere, and on the other hand the cold air inlet, it is parallelly it is moving with the flue gas and it is taking the heat by the radiation process, and that cold air is going to the process, or otherwise to run this combustion, or to run this air is again used in for the combustion of the other processes. The hot gases are cooled by incoming combustion air, now carries additional energy into the combustion chamber. This is energy which does not have to be supplied by the fuel, so consequently we are saving the fuel, that is extra fuel for preheat the air that we are not supplying. Consequently, less fuel is burned for a given furnace loading. The savings in fuel also means decrease in combustion air, and therefore stack losses are decreased not only by lowering the stack gas temperature but also discharging smaller quantity of the exhaust gas. So obviously, if we go for this type of waste recovery things, so ultimately we need to be supply less amount of fuel, so less amount of combustible gas will produce, and ultimately it will causes the less pollution. So metallic type of recapitator, it is shown here, that is it exhaust gas waste heat is medium to high temperature in this case, and applications are as soaking of or annealing ovens, melting furnace, afterburners, gas incinerators, radiant tube burners, and reheat furnaces. Recapitator can be based on radiation, convection, or combination of these two. So various recapitators are used according to some modified with design, that is, which are sometimes it is called afterburner, sometimes it is called radiant tube burners, etc. A simple radiation recapitator consists of, as we have discussed, that is two concentric length of ductwork as shown here. Hot waste gas passing through the inner ducts, and heat transfer is primarily radiated to the wall and to the cold incoming air to the outside shell. The preheated shell air then travels to the furnace burner. So this is in actual case where this figure is taken from Alstom industry. It is a metallic radiation recapitator. It is also consists of two concentric lengths of metal tubing. As we have earlier discussed, the inner tube carries the hot exhaust gases, while the external tube or annulus carries the combustion air from the atmosphere to the air inlets of the furnace burner. The hot gases are cooled by the incoming combustion air, which now carries additional energy into the combustion chamber. This energy, which does not have to be supplied by the fuel, consequently less fuel is burned for a given furnace loading. Now, the recapitator are constructed out of metallic or ceramic material, as we have discussed. Metallic recapitator are used in applications within the temperature below 1000 degree or below 1100 degree centigrade, that is 2000 degree Fahrenheit, while heat recovery at higher temperature is better suited to a ceramic tube recapitator. Ceramic tube recapitator, it can operate as high as 1500 degree centigrade, and cold side temperature is about nearly 1000 degree centigrade. In this energy savings in these devices, the savings of fuel also means, that is, decrease in combustion air, and therefore stack losses are decreased not only by lowering the stack gas temperature but also discharging smaller quantity of exhaust gas, as we have discussed. So the radiation recapitator gets its name from the fact that substantial portion of heat transfer from the hot gas to the surface of the inner tube takes place by radiative heat transfer. The cold air in the annulus, however, is almost transparent to infrared radiation, so as only convection heat transfer takes place to the incoming air. As shown in the earlier diagram, that is, two gases are flows in parallel. So although the configuration would be simpler and the heat transfer most efficient if the flows opposite in direction, that is in counter flow. So as we know from the heat transfer principle, the counter flow, if it is counter flow, the heat exchanger, so it will be more efficient, that is LMTD, that is logarithmic mean temperature difference. The reason here used to choose the parallel flow is that recapitator frequently serve the additional function of cooling the duct, carrying away exhaust gas and consequently extending its surface life. That means the recapitator is not a primary saver of the waste heat device. It is a secondary one. That is, it is used after reusing the waste heat to some other devices. After that, this recapitator, the waste heat is coming to the recapitator. And to increase the life of the recapitator, so we are not directly sending the flue gas or waste heat to first at all at the recapitator. That via some energy efficient method, after that in the second or third case, before discharging it into the atmosphere, the flue gas, it is going through the recapitator. And in case of power plant, we have seen the first of all the flue gas, that is, flows over the superheater tube, boiler tube, regenerator tube, then economizer tube, then various feed water heater, and then after all it is lastly it is flowing through the air preheater through the electrostatic precipitator. So just like this, these things are made so that is made to simple, and the function, it is used as an additional function to save the fuel. So we will conclude now. Thank you for joining this session. Have a nice day.